Now, we were sent to BBC, I think in 1962 or 61 or something like that. And then we were there on secondment, and we spent 4 years in BBC. Well, some of us returned before 4 years, but I was there for about 4 years plus, and I was attached to the African service. We were broadcasting to Africa both in English and in Hausa, but mainly Hausa. So that was quite a big experience. That was the first beginning of my awakening, I may say.
Would you like to talk about it, sir? That is your first experience overseas, and what you mean by your awakening.
Well, awakening for me to know the world, to know what it was. I was born in Nigeria, schooled in Nigeria and worked in Nigeria, and by then, at the time when we went to England, it was like a credit, like a degree for one to have the opportunity, because if you are writing a curriculum vitae in respect of any personality in Nigeria, the first thing is he visited United Kingdom, and then it will be underlined. So at the time when a visit to United Kingdom was something to be proud of, we were asked to go there and stay permanently. You see, so it was a big achievement. And when I was there, I had the opportunity of knowing the whole world. And from time to time, I had the opportunity of meeting personalities. I remember by then we had the Prime Minister, late Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, and late Sardauna, who was then the Premier of Northern Nigeria. May their soul rest in perfect peace. Whenever they visited London, we used to interview them. We used to meet them at the airport. And if we interview them, we used to broadcast that interview back to the listeners, not only in Nigeria, but to the whole of West Africa. So that was an achievement. And certainly, if I had not gone there, probably I may not have the opportunity of meeting like Tafawa Balewa or Sardauna and talk to him face to face. Then it became a routine. I personally was detailed to be meeting Nigerian personalities or African personalities that visited the United Kingdom. So each time there was an important or VIP man in England, the Foreign Office would notify BBC, and the BBC will notify African Service, and eventually the Hausa section. I will be asked, or Ibrahim Tahir will be asked to go and interview such personalities. So that was something that helped me to know how to approach, how to meet, and how to talk to personalities. Then at the same time, we were given the opportunity to go on a kind of tour, either in Europe or in England. And if there was any occasion in which, people of dignities are only allowed to visit, I will carry my microphone like you're doing now, and I'll go and I had my identity and my pass. During the, I remember there was an occasion during the trooping of the color. I had the single opportunity of meeting the Queen, to talk to her and ask her to say good words to her audience, listeners in Africa. And that was something, you see. And then I also had the opportunity of, at least broadening my outlook, watching the TV, traveling outside, seeing personalities coming in, listening to politics. I can say maybe I started learning my act of politics when I wasn't there. So it was really a good achievement.
With so much experience at broadcasting, especially with the BBC, whose reputation worldwide in all aspects of broadcasting is high, and looking back at the formative stages of broadcasting in Nigeria, could he notice any difference?
There is, believe me. It was a profession of pride at that time to be a broadcaster. People like Alhaji Sani Kwantagora, people like Alhaji Adamu Gumel, who are the nucleus, people like Danyan Zazau, who were the first to open broadcasting or to enlighten people in Nigeria, really made a name because they had the opportunity of being either journalists or in the broadcasting line. Because very few, you see, broadcasting itself or journalism is something, it's a profession by itself. You cannot get anybody and push him into it. You have got to be gifted, you have got to get the requirements correct. That you're not shy, that you've got the right voice, that you can be courageous, and that you can accept to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Journalism during our days, I told you, was a profession of its kind. Today it is the same thing, but quite a number of people going into it with or without qualification for being broadcasters. You only need to tune some of the radio stations all over the country. You'll hear somebody reading the news from the time he started up to the time he finishes. Or by the time he finishes, if you ask yourself, what has he said all along? You can hardly remember. Or probably, there are so many defects. But probably this is due to the fact that much scrutiny is not being done before the right caliber of people are employed for the right kind of job. Specifically, I can remember during secondment with the BBC Hausa service. I am a Hausa man, born in Hausa land, and proud to be a Hausa, and in fact saying that probably I don't think anybody can come and teach me what I don't think I have known so far in Hausa language. But believe you me, when we were in England, there was an expatriate, a district officer, DO, who served in Zaria for some 27 years. He was our examiner or something. Each time you type the bulletin, if they give it to you in English, and you come and translate it in Hausa, we tried people like Ibrahim Tahir, Adamu Muhammad, and Diko, this Umar Diko. They are very genius in Hausa language. When you translate, he will take your script, go through it, and he will correct you. He will say, what language is this? Katsananchi or Zazaganchi or Sakwatanchi or Barbarichi or Kananchi or something. Then he will tell you, I think the right word is so much or this much. So you've got to accept, because he has been given the authority, and you'll find that he's really talking sense. So it is something which I think the difference is, as time goes on, things are changing. But still, I think with some guidance, I think the standard probably may continue to improve.
After the BBC engagement, Alhaji Musa Musawa came back home.
Yes, I came back in 1964. This was, I must say that after I had some interviews in London with the present Emir of Daura, Alhaji Muhammad Bashar. He was then the Minister of Economic Planning under the Northern Nigeria government. He went there on an economic mission, and the BBC detailed me to meet him at the airport, which I did, and asked me to interview him. I did both English and Hausa. And then after the interview, then we were discussing about home affairs. Then he said, I think some of you people had enough time in England. It is high time you come back and contribute to the progress of Nigeria and Northern Nigeria in particular, because by then the Northern Nigeria Northernization policy was put into practice. So he strongly advised that some of us should make effort to come back, and I took his advice. Then I said I was going to come back, even though I went on secondment. I said if I come back, then government probably can choose where I should go and work. So in 1964 I came back, and I was sent to join the Northern Nigeria Development Corporation, which was called NNDC. And I was appointed as a public relation officer and administrative officer. And I served under that corporation for some years. And during my service, they sent me to Boston University in America to know more about public relation aspect and to know more about administrative techniques and so on. And by then I sat under the chairmanship of Danyan Zazau, and then Alhaji Tunau Mafara, who is still very much active in life. And that was my first experience after my return from England. Then I was there for a period, and then NNDC decided to send me to Obafemi Awolowo, which is Ile-Ife University, Ibadan campus, to go for a diploma in public administration, which is called DPA. Now, by then, that was the only institution, I think, in Nigeria where such courses were conducted. So I went there with about 6 of us were sent by the Northern Nigeria government. I could remember Balaraba Mahamud was in my team. Musa Musawa was in my team. Alhaji Mamandaku was also in the team. Alhaji Akilu Sanusi, who is now with the UBA, was also in the team. Alhaji Yurat Ansani, the retired permanent secretary. I think about 6 of us were sent there for about a year or 2 years course, and we did it successfully, and then we came back. Now, on my return to Kaduna, instead of going to the NNDC, then I was sent to, by then I think states were created, I was sent to the military governor's office in Kaduna. By then the governor was Alhaji Abba Kyari, or Brigadier Kyari, and the leadership of, well, Garbaja was also the secretary to the military government then. So I was sent under him, and then Garbaja posted me to the government office to be the chief of protocol. I was there, chief of protocol, at the same time like senior assistant secretary. Worked for some years, I think 2 or 3 years. Just before the posting came out, I was just about to be posted, I think, to Kachia to be the DO there. Then there was a circular from the federal government that some northern civil servants should be seconded to federal to be able to probably fill a quota in the Ministry of External Affairs. So I was sent to Lagos on like whether transfer or secondment, I think. And then I was there, I started there, I think in 1972 or 73. Now, so I was in Lagos for a year. After I finished my induction course, I was sent to Cambridge University to study Chinese language, because I was the first Nigerian, if I can remember, to be given that assignment, a very, very tedious assignment. I tried as much as possible to object, that unfortunately the foreign minister then was Alhaji Babagana. He called me personally and said, look, you have been seconded to come here and serve, and the instruction is that we want you to go to Cambridge and learn Chinese. I said, but at my age, sir, won't you look for something younger or something? He said, no, that was a decision taken and you had to go. So I went. I was in Cambridge for 2 years, and I was quite happy I was given that opportunity. I learned Chinese language, both speaking and character-wise. I got about 150 characters, and I was able to speak a little bit of Chinese.